one more, idea, one more. I give one more, idea, one more. I give one more, idea, one more.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians, welcome to another episode of the No Koni Talk Show. I make Capo Daniel, una host, since Pasking, the Deputy Defense Chief of the Ambazonia Defense Force. Welcome. So today, now Monday, our country Sunday, the Ghost Town Day across our national territory, a peaceful demonstration of the people of the territory of the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, demonstrating their will and their desire to be free, their aspiration to be an independent country, and their demand to separate from La Republique du Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are welcome for this show. As we know very much, for this show, we talk the people's language for Southern Cameroons, the Pidgin English. The language being spoken in courts, in our market, our streets, in our hospitals. The Pidgin English language is our language. So welcome everybody. As usual, we will take some time to play music for welcome everybody. And make sure say we check all our connections and be okay. The one the continuation for the episode for yesterday will be promised. Unfortunately, we'll not be fit do them. We will hurry with this show because we'll get the Commander-in-Chief, the leader of our War of Liberation, Dr. Chua Yaba, will do a big presentation for our people then very soon. So we'll go through this very, very important and very powerful presentation today. We're going to look into the contradiction and the falsehood presented by Cardinal Tumi, His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi, in light of the Simon Mumzul interview. So ladies and gentlemen, hold on tight and let us enjoy this music and we get ready for the show. I see Paddy Monday online, I see also Pop Link online, and for those that will watch me for ACN, I want to salute you all as well. Sorry, unfortunately, when I turn on the for monitor the comment section, because I need to do them through my portable device for here, it interrupt the music. So we'll leave that music for now and then we'll go straight into this our program. For those that watch me for Facebook page, I get multiple Facebook page because Facebook they keep on blocking our account for suppress our voice, but we will continue to look ways them for begin to continue to send out our message for our people them, so that their pain and their struggle no go be swept under the rug. And for those who watch me for YouTube channel, do not forget to like the video and to subscribe so that you can get update. And for those who will join me now, maybe we'll get a very interactive presentation. So today, now Monday goes down, number 17 day for the month of May. Now Monday we will prepare for the National Day of Mourning, where the theme for this one is the Day of Resistance. So on the 20th of May, it will be the day where we will demonstrate and resist La Republique rule of our territory. We will call on Oman, make Oman join we for the program and observe a ghost town. Our forces that will impose a lockdown on that day alone. 20th May alone, one day we will get that lockdown across our national territory. All will not be welcome. For those who are going to give comment for the comment section, I'm going to take note and I'm going to factor them inside my presentation as well. So we'll go straight for our presentation for today. I get a couple of things and what I want to bring them for now before we get into our program. And since now a ghost town day, it will be very good for we for salute all our people them where they don't decide for shut down for house, close their market, stop work, for stand still, for send a message, a clear message for the international community. Say the people of the Southern Cameroons, we don't reverse the plebiscite result. We don't change our mind due to the barbaric nature of La Republique du Cameroon, their use of terrorism upon our civilians, their banning of our history, their assimilation, annexation of our territory. We don't decide to we don't want this marriage anymore. We want separation and we want independence. So I will play some few videos the way they come in for ground zero. Make I first start with this one for inside the Barombi, for salute our people then for inside Barombi where they done shidong today for house, for make sure say me this country Sunday be a success, make the international community then get the message, say the people for Southern Cameroon they want nothing but independence. So this one a video, make I put up the video for inside Barombi for the Atlantic state, how all man idan shidong across the whole territory. I hope say the video for inside Barombi, it will make all man way shidong for house also. Me then see I'm no say all way for Southern Cameroon will do for this trouble. I don't want for Salo people for Kumba, for Wum, for Ndian, for Meme, for Victoria as they do.
Yes. Yes, on a Fish Point Junction, Barombi. Where Sansu, the whole street is from here and I roll come boya. The enter Kumba. The whole street now is empty. There is no man. The whole street is empty. You didn't see now people the house is built up.
So na here, all man that shidong for house then, across the territory of Ambazonia, from the Atlantic state to the Savannah state. They don't close all businesses, lock all market, put all things on a hold, and their story needs to be being transmitted to the international community. And would they fear for talk to the war, say the people in Ambazonia, they want separation, they don't for their house, they make big sacrifices them, so that made the whole war is sabi, which way they want them. Now the duty for all activists to tell the story of our people them as they don't for house every day for 4 years now, but demand nothing but make a take una make we go for Bamenda. Do one inside Bamenda now. As soon as they see for inside, I think the Brassaris junction that for people where they know the capital city for the Savannah state Bamenda. Na inside Bamenda that one at the sea, all place
Brassaris Street.
Yeah, Brassaris Street that. All man that shidong for house, all Ambazonia then did together. For those who do work for diaspora today, I go ask them, me then donate their salary for this day, for support our people then for ground zero as they do resist this Cameroon occupation and Cameroon rule of our land. I think some other video than they where they come up, it will take time for bring her up. I think say we will leave them for day. Or make I bring this one also. This one around Fish Point Junction. Maybe we'll see all our people them.
Yes, on a Fish Point Junction, Barombi.
Oh, the one for Barombi. Sorry, Fish Point Junction. This is inside Barombi. Some few other videos and they, but I think because of time constraint, we will just move on with our program. So all of our people throughout our national territory with the Campus Saloduna with liberation greetings as we resist Cameroon rule, as we exert our sovereignty and we demand recognition for the war for our independence as we fight for this liberation struggle. We want to salute all man across our national territory and all Ambazonian across the globe. I go also want to show now the video me show now some of the things that we will suffer with this Cameroon government where they impose themselves upon us. When I remember, it never be up to it never be up to 2 years where Mr. Nijon Fundi and Mr. Chiriachu they become for Santa, they dance, they talk say la Republic, one can tar our route between Bamboo Tools to Santa Day for make road me go for inside but for Sami the worker fine when I very critical road with La Republic they benefit for the crops so they export them from Ambazonia through that road. That road it don't be allowed for destroy. Our soldiers they never interfere with the so-called construction of that road, but they don't just make it don't go for bad to worse. I remember when I grew up for come out for Bamenda go for inside Yaoundé, it take me around 5 hours. And it even reduced. Now people they take up to 1 day, a whole day's journey. It's terrible. So we're gonna see the type of country where these people then be.
Good morning. This is my 5 Akum. Yes, this is about an hour ago that we have been standing here because of bad road. This is Bamenda, Cameroon, 21 century.
This is the
Look at the
mental road.
condition which students are living.
See how they demand
God have mercy on us,
with all the resources.
because we don't know when we'll live here. Look at how vehicles have been parked on the way. Look at how people are suffering. Look at the condition of the road. Yeah. The summon road number.
So una feel say now this kind of people then we will go live with them. Fake promises over fake promises, despite the benefits where they take them from our territory. Our resources alone, they account for over 60% of their GDP. Yet, now the kind suffer this way of people that they go through for manage their day-to-day life. It not be acceptable, it not be tolerable. I want to put up these images and for remind ourselves once more which will a republic rule it mean for our people. It be nothing but punishment upon our people them. So I go also want to talk about for as we the struggle for this issue where they for inside the great state of Ndonga Mantung. I want to remind our people that for Ndonga Mantung say we would build the defenses them as we strengthen the boy them for make sure say me them be organized, me them be ready for defender block. We also want to talk for people that for inside Tabu where I be with some of us today we want to refine for talk for call out some specific people that when a black leg them where they for inside Tabu they. One man be there with the holy before I intervene, they release the man. His name is Mr. John Wege store for Corner Park Day. For instance, Tabu Day, for instance, Ndonga Mantung Day. And also Mr. Njibu. I know Mr. Njibu, people of that area, they will know it very well. Now some Muslim man way they do business too for day. And then Alaji chairman. These three people that they open shop for Ghost Town Day. And Mr. John in particular, na person where he don't work with military, he get blood free hand. Before the boy release, we will not be done get the investigation. We don't get enough evidence now for which will happen. We will ask TCME kindly move inside the Republic before things they go meet up for day. We will continue for send out this instruction them. We will also call on Alaji chairman where they for inside Carrefour for double Carrefour Day. So me them know say nothing that way. Okay, so we will leave that one now. We will go but let me bring up this issue. I want to just show now. This is a very good news. We get news from the international market. Say the CDC the exportation for banana for CDC it down fall to 22% from last year before almost to close to 20%. So basically it down fall by 40% right now. We will never even get started for rejuvenate our campaign to stop the exportation of our products for the CDC. We need to intensify that one and make sure so bring down that number to 0. So ladies and gentlemen, maybe we'll go directly inside our presentation for today. We'll get a lot. I think we'll get just 1 more hour before the President of the Governing Council, leader of our War of Liberation, Dr. Chua Yabai will come online. So we'll go straight into this presentation. This is a very important presentation. And I'll do a little bit of consultation here and there with some of our people then for make sure say we'll get them very, very right and precise. When I know Simon Monso, in the beginning of this struggle, we will get leaked information right from La République, their presidency, of a plan submitted by Simon Monso for help La République du Cameroon stop the resistance of La République rule in Ambazonia. When this struggle will be the pick up steep. All those information will be then put them so the record day out there. During that period, we'll be telling us say then get a plan for a so-called national dialogue and a so-called Anglophone conference where it not be meant now for resolve this issue, but it be meant now for suppress us and for keep us in the status quo. The things that don't turn out to be right. Simon Monso he then give a very big interview and I will go analyze them today. We will also play Cardinal Tumi account of the same things. We're going to see how His Eminence, Cardinal Tumi, he did lie for broad daylight. And we're going to know so that we're not going to be blindsided when we see people that they come with heavy personality. Never can talk for we know they take which way they talk about. We're going to do our own homework. Now the promise and the mantle that we don't get them for now. I think the press secretary called. Yeah, PS, are they live? So I go bring those videos and I go show now. Maybe una listen, una watch for una own self so that when we talk, we gonna know the fee say we just talk but these things are real. Simon Monso na one of the brain where they help La Republique for manage we the Southern Cameroonians them. Most of the subject the way they teach them, for instance Enam and Emia, na Simon Monso he train them. Most of these they are colonial SDO and DO. Na Simon Monso he teach them well how to manage the so-called Anglophones. So me gonna wait, me go take gonna go time for the presentation. I see I get some small technical glitches. Make I try for adjust them. Okay, I feel disappear appear. So I will take on for this interview them. I will play them. Na 2 interview. It be very long. It will take us about 45 minutes. So those way if you do your job when you watch me begin the wash your pan them, you just add na volume. No need for begin look too much. So I will start with the interview with Simon Monso. We don't grant him for La Republique. He don't give us a lot of information for confirm which way we talk, and he will give me an opportunity for tackle the misinformation then. Where Simon Monso he done brilliantly put up. He's a very smart guy, but you know say if some person smart way the person he need to go on the right way, he will be very very destructive. We don't get a lot of senior comrade then call about this the content of this interview, so it'd be very right for us for do maybe we'll go for the straight away.
The 17th of July last.
For the purpose of managing time, I go try to concord the interview small, but leave the vital part them so that we go address the major things and way Simon Monso he go the put up. If you not remember, Simon Monso no be small picking a very very big man for inside Ambazonia. He be one of the people the way they be there for the tripartite committee where Paul be set them up me then rewrite their constitution for La Republique du Cameroon. So he be very very important person. We know say Simon Monso they work with the direct power for La Republique, the rule La Republique right from the presidency. So whatever he talk it be very important. Me gonna take for into consideration. We gonna know the mind of the thinking of La Republique, because Simon Monso represent which way the one way me will accept them as a people. At the time where Simon Monso be push the agenda for the 3rd All Anglophone Conference, we will oppose them very very strongly. And the plan for the national dialogue where be now also the plan where Simon Monso they be bring them, we will then resist them, say now all attempt for surrender, for suppress us and continue the status quo. Now opportunity for this for me for extend for now step by step wait till it happen. So I will take them, I will stop the interview as it go, and I will talk for the address the issue the way it will come up.
The last time I saw the Cardinal was on the 17th of July last year, and I had gone to inform him that I was planning to travel to the US 2 days later. On the
Okay, this one na the trip where Simon Monso he be carry and go for United States. Who na be go see go meet up Sako. He be grant interview. He talk for a lot of Southern Cameroonians them. At that time, we be tell na say Simon Monso he go na on a mission where he be sanctioned by the Cameroon presidency, and he no get nothing to do with a management of the AGC. When the Cardinal Tumi organization where he represent itself for the international community and for the Ambazonia people as a legitimate broker, we want bring Ambazonia together to resolve this war get them concerning our independence with La Republique du Cameroon. So now Simon Monso now he can confirm which will be the talk. No be Cardinal Tumi they be saying for the he be just the inform Cardinal Tumi them of the activity them. Maybe una hear.
19th of July, we discussed a project that we had in mind then, which indeed was to tell the story of the Anglophone General Conference.
So if you go sell the Anglophone General Conference, where they call another na AGC, where the organization where Cardinal Tumi be the claims in I own. So ladies and gentlemen, I will just give a little bit some more information. For me, the last time, and I think that was I was discussing with Cardinal Tumi extensively not directly through him because he need to use phone. He phone way to use na he driver a phone, a WhatsApp, the one way they communicate with me. I think with most of the Ambazonian leadership. So the last time I talked with he, it will be enough for the time where that priest from Catholic from the Vatican he visit Ambazonia for Bamenda. We be one camp for day and then they be warrior them block you for road. He ask the driver, then call me, say my intervene, I try for intervene, he try for explain and why he want come for this. So now the time that way I will really get a conversation with His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi, who is somebody I respect very much. But you guys should know that just because we respect somebody, it no means we go there to take the person for everything where they talk and we worship. And this one not be this our generation. We go always challenge falsehood, even for people the way we respect them. We go always disagree, even with people who love them. So, ma play the interview, me gonna hear.
We agreed that I would write it and he would preface it, you know. So you can imagine, for me personally, what it has meant for him to go at this time. You say I've been away, but yes, I was out of the country, as I say, I've been since July last year, but I was in constant touch with the Cardinal. I would say yes and no.
Okay.
Cameroonians took full advantage in the sense that the ordinary Cameroonian listened to Cardinal Tumi, heard what he had to say, appreciated his stand on issues, and that is why many kept going to him.
So just for the record, what's the way people that be listen for Cardinal Tumi? The people that express themselves clearly through the ghost town every Monday, through the protests where they be wake up for 2018 for talking the one independence and separation. The way the people be the way me Cardinal Tumi he talk. Na say he stand with the people. He don't listen for the people. He understand the people, their aspiration and their dream, their pain of assimilation. What the people were expecting from His Eminence was to say, yes, I stand with you, the oppressed people, against a brutal regime waging a war of subjugation against you. Yes, I stand with you. You have the right to demand your aspiration for a free country. I stand with you and I will support you and I'm willing to pay the ultimate price. That is why we come to him. And like many political leaders of his time, like Frundi, Kawala, Abobala, the so-called elites, have all failed us. They have failed to respond, including Honorable Weber, who had his best moment. We have come to them to stand and back the quest that is being supported, that is being demanded by more than 98% of our people. They have not spoken for us. They want us to come to them and worship them. It will not happen. So now listen.
Council. But the political elite did not listen to him to the degree that they should have. And by political elite, I mean both those in power and those in the opposition aspiring someday to come to power. Yes. Because unfortunately, given that much of the Cardinal's interventions were driven by his social consciousness, he will necessarily have to take the government to task, because it is the government which by vocation has a responsibility to take care of Cameroonians in this manner. Now,
so the which way Simon Mumzul talk, now the truth, as the government of La Republique, now the authority way it don't place itself for the land. Now then get that responsibility for handle thing. And Cardinal Tumi, the expectation I say he go to take the government on task. Unfortunately, Cardinal Tumi the one die. It is speak on behalf of the government. It is speak on behalf of the so-called national dialogue that stand against his own people. I will fast forward this video to the crucial part the way I want me to listen, so that it will expose wait when Mumzul talk am. I go play the video for Cardinal Tumi, me gonna see the manipulations and the lies where Cardinal Tumi will be put on for we for Ambazonia. Let alone the last interview we gave for French, where he talk say most of the Ambazonia fighters them na Nigerians them. We go get for that place very soon. Make we continue.
And because he did that and was perceived by the government, by the ruling elite, as he himself used to say, that they take him as an opposant. Every place that he passed, just think of what he achieved in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of creating channels of communication, radios and televisions and all of that. Now, isn't that in itself worth, would it have been worth decoration?
So, when you look people like Cardinal Tumi, and you look people like the one in South Africa, Desmond Tutu, our people, Cardinal Tumi is far educated than Desmond Tutu. The expectation for our people, for the legacy for somebody like Cardinal Tumi, where he don't live among Francophones, where he don't testify about the manipulation from France and to engineer assimilation of our people. What building are they talking about? What legacy? When you are going with lies in your mouth against people you have referred to as heroes, fighting for their people, fighting for self-defense. Cardinal Tumi died with a lie in his tongue, saying that the Amber boys are from Nigeria. 99, he said actually gave more than 90% of the one that came to him. He was painting a picture, a broad picture about all the Amber boys. That is how he went. So make we go down for the place, make we hear.
And think of his involvement in terms of the welfare of Cameroonians. This struggle that he was fighting for democracy, peace, justice in our country in so many different ways. When you look at even just that angle alone, wasn't that deserving of a decoration while he was alive?
For the record, I believe say Cardinal Tumi be the fight only for be relevant for Pobia. Because if you go, you listen for an earlier interview, he don't always complain say Pobia need to talk for you. Pobia need to talk for you. By the time the one can start making relevant, they talk for you. That was all. What type of life, what type of livelihood he don't benefit and for his own people, his own village, they don't born his own village. Garbuna for his neighbor. Those are children who were playing and coming right down to his house. Then kill them all. He closed him out. Time we be talk say this war and finish. He closed him out. So
I had formed the opinion right from the beginning of this crisis that we're not going to get out of this crisis without people sitting around the table.
So now this is the primary part of this presentation, where Simon Mumzul talk about the whole concept, the whole initiative of the AGC. I'll play the video for Cardinal Tumi. We're gonna hear the manipulation and the mafia between these two people. Gonna listen.
And so I went out to advocate the convening of a national dialogue on the Anglophone problem.
Mm-hmm. So Simon Mumzul talk say the whole idea for the Anglophone National Conference, the AGC, now a conception from himself, just like we done talk. I'm saying now Simon Mumzul project. So he go out for go look people the way they fit, if he use them or they fit stand for in front for do this project where he done design them. As we be telling them from the beginning, when we get leak information, say now a project where he done present for presidency for La Republic, they don't approve them. No be as a means to resolve this crisis where they with them, this war for our liberation, but the means for suppress them may be manageable and safe La Republic to Cameroon. Now listen.
But I also felt that given the disparity in opinion amongst Anglophones, given the fact that Anglophones didn't have an Anglophone national leadership.
So, wait Simon Mumzul, they be the one do am. Basically, now for suppress the leadership of Ambazonia, the real leadership that had emerged. Remember that the formation of the consortium was representative of the entire interest of our people, from all the trade unions, the teachers union, the lawyers unions. This was a consortium, a constituency that represented the interests of the entire state. But Pobia did not like it because they could not manage it. The regime in Yaoundé was not comfortable with it. So what they did, which is what Simon Mumzul was trying to do for them, is to deny that we don't have a leadership. You know, this is not what they want. They want to create a narrative. The presentation of this case by the consortium that was well articulated by the common law lawyers in the memo that was sent by Hamani Bokba on behalf of the lawyers, it was stated clearly, well articulated. So the whole plan was to deny the emergence of leadership that represented this challenge that was generated by this current crisis. It was not to come and assist those who were leading the people's demand, those who were championing the cry of the people for separation, like Seseko Ayok Tabi, like I'll call all of the names, like Godidinka, Ayabacho, Benedictwa, and all those leaders, Maurice, and all those groups. Because in a conflict, you have parties. They had people who were championing this crisis. Right from the consortium, it started with Harmony Bokba, with the common law lawyers, then to the consortium, and then you had the Skakuf. They were the main party that represent the interests of the state. So the whole idea that Simon Mumzul, that we don't have the leadership, is what they wanted to accomplish, to neutralize effective leadership that represent the aspiration of the people for separation. So, may gonna listen.
That in itself worth democracy, peace, justice in our country in so many different ways. When you look at even just that angle alone, wasn't that deserving of a decoration while he was alive? Now, I had formed the opinion right from the beginning of this crisis that we're not going to get out of this crisis without people sitting around the table. And so I went out to advocate the convening of a national dialogue on the Anglophone problem. But I also felt that given the disparity in opinion amongst Anglophones, given the fact that Anglophones didn't have an Anglophone national leadership.
So, Mado broke and give a pigeon, me all our country people that here. The whole idea, Big Bina for create the national dialogue with Paul Biaka announcer. We be tell and say, oh, na Simon Mumzul, a plan will be submitted for them. We even bring the documents the way it began for they who will present those leaked documents. They want to create a national dialogue on the so-called Anglophone conference. The prelude for that conference was the AGC, the All Anglophone Conference. It will be all part of the same package. For start with the AGC and then go for the national dialogue. And all of them fail woefully because it will be an attempt not to resolve the people's aspiration or to address it. It was to suppress it. It was to neutralize our formation and the leadership that represented those aspirations. Wanna hear?
Leadership, indeed. Because since the abolition of the parliament in Buea, the Buea, where we used to have the House of Assembly would have said would speak for the people of Southern Cameroons. The government of Southern Cameroons, you would say, would speak for the people of Southern Cameroons. Even in terms of the period when we Federated State of West Cameroon, we had our.
So this is very important, me what people they understand. Because for you for go stand so you talk on behalf of Southern Cameroon, you need to get some legitimacy, say which way the talk and really represent the people. And the whole aim for La Republique for abolish our parliament, for destroy the whole administration for the Southern Cameroon where they be elected. It will be enough to create a situation where we no go get a real credible leadership or a real credible voice where if we speak on our behalf. Nevertheless, we do have it now, but maybe we take a small as it the talk and make our country people that they hear.
Government, we had our parliament, we had our justice system, we had our institutions. So you could rely on those institutions to represent and speak for the people of that territory without anybody disputing their legitimacy to do so. But since 1972, with the abolition of those institutions and the division of that territory into two parts, Northwest and Southwest, the question arises as to who has the legitimacy to speak for the people of Northwest and Southwest.
Just for the record, La Republique, the division between our territory, Northwest and so-called Northwest and Southwest, was not the first time. It was not the division of our territory. That territory remained one and indivisible. Even during the time when we were attached to Nigeria as part of the Eastern region state in Nigeria, with the headquarters in Onugu, where we participated through our elected leaders, Southern Cameroon was partitioned, not partitioned, it was divided administratively in two provinces. One capital was in Bamenda and another one was in Boya. Even though they did not appoint a regional head in Bamenda, they appointed one in Boya, which was the capital of the whole territory. So when you, for administrative purpose, when you say you have Northwest and Southwest as they want to call it, it does not mean you have separated the territory. Just because the United States have East Coast, West Coast, or have Texaco and many states, it does not mean that they have separated the country. So the whole idea said that they be separate Southern Cameroon into two separate regions. No. Southern Cameroon remain one. So me gonna hear.
That's been a problem. And so when in connection with what I was reflecting on, the question became, if you are going to have a meeting of Anglophones, who is to convene them?
So the whole question about the legitimacy of political representation of our territory. I want to block somebody who is sharing a scam on this thing. So the whole issue, Bibina say, now who feel legitimately represent us? Of course, the consortium and SCACUF was well formulated and was legitimate to represent the interests of the people under the right of political association and political organization. So the whole idea that we don't have somebody who can represent us just because we don't have elected officials like we used to do, it does not match with reality. Remember that in the Banjul court, it was 11 Southern Cameroonians, Gojidinka, the Capo, Ompo, and all those groups that went and submitted a case on behalf of the whole Southern Cameroon, and the case was heard. The Cameroon government sent its own delegation to go and defend that case, and we won that case. So just because you do not have elected officials does not mean that you cannot represent, you cannot politically organize yourself. Like you will hear, he organized the representation of the Southern Cameroon in the All Anglophone Conference 1 and 2. But Meg will continue for here.
In my mind, the natural candidates for that were our political leaders, who, one way or the other, were elected by us.
So, for it to organize that national Anglophone conference, it talks to the people the way they fulfill represent we. Now the one the way they be now the parliamentarians and the senators them, because they supposedly supposed to be now people where they be elected directly to represent the people, like Honorable Weber and all those them, even the CPDM want them to be supposed to be. we make the point where we talk from early on this struggle, say we no fit allow these people they remain for La Republic, their parliament, because they are being there in our name. They give some semblance of legitimacy to the Cameroon legislature that is claiming sovereign power over our territory. So we want to make all them come out, like how they come out from Enugu. The people they don't demand them. The amount of people there be much go for their compound, for the chief palace them. They be overwhelming. Where they no fit deny say those people them their continuous participation with that parliament, it be in disregard and it be against the will of the people them where they be done demonstrate them clearly. So make we continue, make we not forget the place who did it talk about it attempt to get people the way they feel represent the Southern Cameroon for convene that conference.
Okay. And so my choice was our members of National Assembly and senators as our political leaders. Yeah. But I also felt that because we hold very dearly to our chieftaincy institution, traditionally our traditional rulers have been a mainstay of our society, including when they had the House of Chiefs in Boya in those days. You know, so I felt that that would be an additional component about potential conveners of this. Okay. In July of 2017, I went to Yaoundé and met every one of them because the session of parliament was on, urging them to take the role in convening this conference.
So, Simon Mumzul, it be important when I follow this thing step by step. Then when I go see the lies we dey for inside. Simon Mumzul, he don't bring that idea where Paul Biya they be done green. Make him make all Anglophone conference. Then for the Cameroon government, he go organize the Grand National Dialogue for discuss the Anglophone problem. Now the whole plan that way be for day. So if he talk say he go try the people where they feel make that conference me work. Now the so-called parliamentarians them. He go meet up them try for talk for them in no waka. He check say if for other me chief them to then day for day. But in no waka. So me gonna hear.
Okay, you wanted the senators and MPs,
and MPs to be the ones to convene
the Anglophone
General Conference okay. as the people's representatives, and to be joined in that by traditional rulers as our natural rulers. So that was the idea. All of them, I mean, it didn't work out. So the politicians failed us there. Then I said to myself, okay, how about our religious authorities? Our religious leaders, they can play this role.
So now remember, now Simon Mumzul his own idea to think about the religious leader the way they fit do am. Una remember, una listen very well because I go play Cardinal Tumi his own accounts. Me gonna hear how he go live for broad daylight. Una listen.
Therefore, I went towards them with the same appeal for them to be the conveners of this. And initially, they agreed to do it because for me his moral authority that I keep evoking was crucial, and if one person in my own reading had the uncontested legitimacy, moral legitimacy to call Anglophones together, I would have said with the Gaza. So I was very thrilled with that. And so once he gave his okay, indicated his willingness to be on this initiative, then I continued my.
So when I remember the wordings the way Simon Mumzul the talk, because he be very honest. to be honest with you, this guy is an honest man. He's just telling you guys the truth. So Eddie talk say he basically go recruit priests them where they can do it way he don't plan them. This me they can implement the plan. Me they can be part of way ye than design them. It be important me gonna understand this truth because for ye we don't crack our head for talk say these things was coming from Simon Mumzul and Etudi, and they be deny. So now he don't come the explain and he want the talk thing the way we be done knock head day no man they believe him. So me gonna listen.
Reach out to the other church leaders, and eventually on the 25th of July, I think, 2017, they all met at the Cardinal's residence in Douala. And for some of them, they were meeting for the first time, but they all met and agreed to convene the Anglophone General Conference. There was a need to maintain both, which has not been fulfilled, has been eroded by the systematic erosion of the heritage of one of those two sites. So we correct that, but we correct that within the Cameroon which we all as a people decided to form on the 1st of October 1961. That's the crux of the matter. It's not more complicated.
So it tells now the crafting of the whole deal of the AGC. It is crafted within the context of one Cameroon. As soon as the year for your own mob, that was the whole crafting of it. It was pre-arranged. The whole thing would not go out of that bounds. Now, make a play the interview, because when they be the convener, they be engage us, and we make this objection to them. You remember that is when I think Ellie Smith was engaging with us on behalf of Cardinal Tumi and Mumzul, because he was really working hard for them, trying to make us, to convince us that this thing is pure, they don't have any hidden agenda, it is going to be fair, it's going to be free, which is was not supposed to be, because it is free. They have already the boundaries where you cannot go out of the boundaries. So they had already set out perimeters, and it has to be within that box, within that context of one Cameroon. So maybe we'll hear now Cardinal Tumi interview where become partially as a result of us saying that we want to hear from the Cardinal. We have questions. We don't just blindly reject the AGC, but we reject it on this basis that this thing was concocted by Simon Mumzul to help Mr. Paul Biya, and Mr. Paul Biya have accepted it because he wants it to implement it and think it's a way out of Ambazonia demand for independence. So make her bring the video for the interview where it be ensued due to those pressure where they be the game for we say maybe we endorse that conference, and this is the interview where Eddie Smith we go game with our demand, as well as when I will see how you go to talk regarding the same thing.
To have you here today, and Your Eminence, a lot of questions is being raised regarding the planned Anglophone General Council schedule for the 29th and 30th of August in Buea. Now, the question that many people are asking is, when did this idea come up into your mind? The idea of organizing an Anglophone conference.
Really, when I say we now, I'm thinking of myself as an Anglophone. I thought in my conclusion, in listening to the interventions of Anglophones, I arrived at the conclusion that they were not saying the same thing, and that they did not really know what their problems were.
So beside, make we man not over digress. Cardinal Tumi talks will be the talk different thing. Of course, some person talk say some people they be want federation, some people they be want independence, but it was absolute that the conflict itself was about separation. It wasn't about any other thing. They had articulated through the consortium a suggestion that accommodated federalism. They demanded federalism or separation. And Skakuf, it has emerged from the consortium into Skakuf. And Skakuf resolved in the first conclave and declared the restoration of our independence and sovereignty. So we knew what we were doing. There was no ambiguity why the people were fighting, why they were agitating, why they were locking down Ambazonia. We knew exactly. The people knew that it was about separation. Nevertheless, let Cardinal Tumi, in his own word, explain for Una how this thing is started. Una don't hear Simon Mumzul, he talk, say na ye be get that idea. Na ye be done already arrange them or come define the only person where go can be for in front. He go try for meet up the parliamentarian, they no work. For try for meet up the chiefs them, he no work. Then na he come na can say go try religious leader. Na he way he take Cardinal Tumi stand for before. So now the question this way, Ellie Smith be the ask Cardinal Tumi, me talk for public because we will represent the frontline communicators them will be to transmit this information for Ellie Smith, for Cardinal Tumi, so we know if we allow that conference may be legitimate and may they come to explain these things them. Since Cardinal Tumi no be fit, His Eminence no be fit give we interview directly because he did for the Lions Den or whatever was the reason, Ellie Smith take upon himself to go ask him for he through interview make it explain them, and surely when I hear the misrepresentation the way he gave.
The problems were not clearly defined. So I thought that it would be good for the Anglophones to meet and define clearly and as objectively as possible what their grievances against the central administration are.
To be fair, you can say Cardinal Tumi before make an assessment, say based on whatever was going, it wasn't very fair, it wasn't well articulated. The whole case that it is a case of recolonization, annexation, whatever you may say, and he wanted it to be more precise. You could give it to him that to be fair and balanced. Anyway, but the fact of the matter is Simon Mumzul have told us how the whole thing came about. So maybe we'll listen and maybe we'll hear.
And that is why when I met Mumzul that I've known for quite some time and who has international experience, I called him and we spoke together. And he accepted to be a sort of secretary if I propose, the idea of a third Anglophone conference.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi. I wouldn't say, I don't want to use the word lie because he's of late. So with all due respect, this is Cardinal Tumi given misrepresenting what is going on. Simon Mumzul came to recruit him. Now he is saying he is offering Simon Mumzul to become the secretary. How can somebody make this type of misrepresentation without trying to manipulate the people? Any fair-minded person will come to the same conclusion that Cardinal Tumi was misrepresenting the whole thing. Maybe they never knew that we are this smart. I don't know what they take us for. They think we don't have brain, or they are dealing with a whole different breed of Ambazonians. So maybe we'll continue for here. Sometime when I will say he misspoke, they will ask you that question repeatedly. Maybe we'll not hear.
And also because he was, I think, one of the secretaries of the Anglophone conference that took place in 1993 from the 2nd to the 3rd of August. So that's how I arrived at that. I called him, he came here. And
so Cardinal Tumi say arrived at that position and then he called Simon Mumzul. It even give the CV of Simon Mumzul as being qualified because of all these things. That is a complete distortion. And that's a complete, I wouldn't want to say lie, but we know what I mean. You would not be saying that this man was qualified because of this thing. That is why you want him to be something, when we know that Simon Mumzul actually wanted the cardinal to be in front to give it some type of legitimacy. It was not the other way around.
And I said I would not like to do it alone. I would like to deal with experienced religious leaders of other religions, major religions in Cameroon.
So remember, now Simon Mumzul, before he want to meet up Cardinal Tumi, have already decided that he wants to bring the religious leaders to be involved. And now you can hear Cardinal Tumi misrepresenting this same issue and saying that he decided that it was good to bring some experienced religious leaders and all these things. So you people should see that there was no credibility behind the AGC and the national dialogue right from conception. And it all came from the same person.
That's how the idea of contacting the Presbyterian church for an elderly person. In preference, we would love, I would have loved the person.
So Cardinal Tumi talks that is how the idea of contacting the Presbyterians, the Imams, that is how it came about. But definitely that is not how it came about. Simon Mumzul have explained that he made that decision after he failed in recruiting the parliamentarians and the chief.
Sentence the Presbyterian is a pastor on retirement, but is there who decided that the synod clerk should represent the Presbyterian church. And then we also thought that we should not forget our Muslim brothers. They have something to say. So we contacted, therefore, the imams of Buea and Bamenda, and they made sacrifices to be here in Douala. You know, the Imam of Bamenda arrived at 4 o'clock and left for Bamenda about 6 o'clock or 7 in the evening. So that's how the idea came, and that's how we arrived at a communique, which was we didn't just propose a communique and the people signed, but for such a meeting, you should bring together a draft that you don't come empty-handed. He said, this is what I propose as a draft declaration. So it is for us now to study it and see and adopt it.
So this draft way Cardinal Tumi talk, now the one way Simon Mumzul explain them, say the whole issue was crafted within the context of one Cameroon. The whole issue was made within that framework, so that whatever decision, whatever outcome will remain in that context of one Cameroon. It was something that was programmed already, just like we had said. So listen.
That's our own, and that's what happened.
Now, how do you make of people, especially within the Southern Cameroonian diaspora or Anglophone, who think that your initiative is kind of teleguided by Paul Biya's regime? What do you make of that?
Of course, they are sure there that the government has authorized the meeting. We're still wondering whether the government will accept us to meet, because it's a big meeting, which they will have to be there to protect us, to make sure that there.
So the whole idea, it was teleguided. Of course, it was teleguided. Mumzul came from the presidency. We had released those leaked memo of that meeting where he submitted that submission first to the Prime Minister's office and then down to Etudi, and then he now going around looking for who to validate it and who to use. So of course it was teleguided. It was teleguided.
The meeting takes place.
The only reason the meeting was not allowed to go ahead was because they could not meet some benchmark or some semblance of legitimacy for the thing to even have some teeth in it. That is the only reason. It wasn't because of any other thing. So we're going to hear.
Because it's our right. It's our duty as pastors. You know. So some people think surely if there's anybody to be pushed by anybody in Cameroon, it's not Cardinal Tumi.
And hear how His Eminence, Pa Tumi be the talk. They were not pushing him, but Simon Mumzul talk say if he didn't make the framework, he had it in his hand, confirming where to where will be the talk from the beginning. So we're gonna hear.
Personal conviction.
Okay, granted that you are the sole initiator, how come that it is now 2 years that the crisis has been going on, and you are just now making or taking this initiative?
So listen for the question where Eli Smith the asking. Eli Smith say, how come you are the sole initiator? We now know, we knew already, not that we now know, but for the sake of this conversation, Simon Mumzul have explained that he is the sole generator, the sole initiator of this program. he had already tried to use other people and it failed before coming to Cardinal Tumi. So Ellis Smith is asking a direct question, where if our Pa, His Eminence, was honest, he would tell him that I am not the sole initiator. I'm just trying to carry this thing on my shoulder that Simon Mumzul think he can use me, and I want to be used because I want to have the phone number of Mr. Pobia also. Now the no Connie talk show this. There is no Connie no go pass.
I thought that the initiative the government was taking to dialogue with the people on the field by sending, some government officials to meet the people would help to reduce the tension. But I think all of us will agree that the tension is getting more and more serious, and that we cannot just sit down looking at what is happening. But it's getting worse. Many soldiers are killed, many civilians are killed, So we as pastors, we want to speak and propose to the Anglophone Cameroonians and to all Cameroonians what we think should be done to seize the violence that is taking place now in the country. It's a proposition. We're not imposing.
To resolve a crisis, according to Pope John Paul II, nobody, he actually said, the worst hypocrites are those who call for peace without justice. To resolve a conflict, you call for justice for the victim. Justice for Southern Cameroon, who is the victim here. We are the victim. Our people are the victim here. Anybody who wants peace will call for justice for the oppressed people. Let's go ahead.
We're not imposing it. As pastors, as religious leaders, for us Catholics, Christ has said, propose in season and out of season. Whether they listen to you or not, you would have done your work. But if we sit down silently and see things morally going wrong and we say nothing, we will be guilty before God.
So with all this moral authority and the knowledge of the truth, why did the Cardinal not speak out for justice for the people? People that he identified himself as one of the Anglophones. Why did he not call for justice and ask Mr. Pobia to let my people go? The people are tired. I will give some credit to Cardinal Tumi and to Ellis Smith for coming up with the polling that proved that more than 90% of our people want independence. I will give them that credit. I know Ellis Smith worked very hard for that. His work with the Cardinal to facilitate the disarmament is treason. Nevertheless, give credit where credit is due, because that is a very, very great tool that Cardinal Tumi have left behind for us, and I applaud him for that. To be fair, balanced, and unafraid. So may we continue.
Point that some Anglophones are raising, which could be described as founded or not, is that the other allegation is, are you the real initiator, or it is an initiative of Dr. Simon Mumzul, who is an avowed federalist, and that you are just fronting for him?
Okay, this one a very, very important question. Because this now the question the way will be the game for Ellis Smith, now the question the way will be the broadcaster for our show them, now the question way will be the express them way will be the come from the Ambazonian leaders them. Say this initiative, now initiative for Simon Mumzul, where now a devout federalist where get an agenda for federalism and all those things them, then I ask that question directly for His Eminence. And when I know that, when I already hear the answer from Simon Mumzul, say na he be the initiator, na he be the person who get the concept, na he be the designer. May we not hear way to way His Eminence reply.
Can you imagine me, Dr. Mumzul, a young man there, and I, at my age, fronting for him? They don't just, it is my initiative.
where pa His Eminence now you the lie so for broad daylight you dey talk say na your initiative. Simon Mumzul explain and say na his initiative and he no fit lie because say he go meet up parliamentarians and senator, meet up chiefs them for try me, then you do am. E no work. So there is more than sufficient substantial evidence for us on this No Corny Talk show to pronounce His Eminence Cardinal Tumi guilty as charged of distortion. I will not go and call am say outright lies out of respect for his death, given his status. But when a man comes out and lies to our people like this, now for our people to learn a lesson and for use their brain every time. When I listen.
Which coincidentally interest Mumzul that I've known for years. You know.
The announcement on the 25th, read by the synod clerk, everybody heard what he read, that it was going to be an inclusive, all Anglophone meeting in Boya.
That's what was said in the document.
In the document, great. Now, how do you guarantee Anglophones who are in the bushes fighting with arms, those who are abroad, then with a sledgehammer of an arrest warrant?
That is why we're telling the government, please to allow them come in freely. And if possible, if legally possible, to free those who are in prison so that they will participate either personally or by delegation in this meeting, because we call it inclusive.
Okay. And the other question is, what is going to be new? You know, you talked about the AAC 1 and 2. What new thing do you think that will come out from the planned August 29th and 30th meeting that is not new, that the government doesn't know?
Look, the government, what is new first in our initiative is that this initiative is taken by religious, men as we have a pastoral approach. We have no arms, but we tell love, forgive.
A perfect disguise to bring in an agenda for federalism.
These are the virtues we'll be insisting on. Love and forgiveness, objectivity and truth. You know, these are not political, this is not political language. So that is what makes the whole thing different from what.
So my professor in the University of Chang usually say, the worst politicians are those who say they are not playing politics. So His Eminence, you did talk said, these are not language of politicians, but here are you playing politics on broad daylight. This should be a lesson to all those who come out there to spew things in front of people, thinking that people do not have retentive memory and they cannot do simple research work on behalf of our people. Welcome to the No Corny Talk show. We're gonna hear
approach, you know. And if we will take part in that meeting, we, the religious persons, and our insistence will be on those virtues that make man, that is truth.
This is the truth. And I want to thank the AGC, I want to thank Eli Smith and His Eminence Cardinal Tumi for doing a wonderful job to carry out the polling amongst Ambazonians at home and abroad that have proven that amongst 1,000 people that were polled and that voted or that participated in that polling, more than 96% said that they want independence and separation, which was not as in the question. They actually went out of the way to make that demand. So the truth that Cardinal Tumi should be speaking is that the people want separation. the people are going out of their way to demand for separation. Over how many millions of our people are staying home since 4 years to demand for outright separation and independence. Yet, His Eminence did not stand up to speak on behalf of those people, but he decided to lend his personality, his prestige, behind Simon Mumzul to disguise a package to deliver federalism which will not even be accepted, as they have demonstrated that the whole national dialogue end up with decentralization, which we knew from the start that they will bring federalism to gather us as so-called Anglophone and then take us and accept. When they have neutralized our leadership, they will go now and accept on our behalf decentralization. So that is why we made sure that that AGC is discredited, that AGC have no legitimacy, and it failed and it did not hold. And the national dialogue was void of our participation and void of the representation of the conflict. The conflicting partners are those 96% of our people who have gone out of their way to say that they want independence. I'll take you back to the video of Simon Mumzul so that we rounding up, let you hear the lies and manipulation that these people have fed our people with. So let's go back and I'll forward it where we ended so that you pick it up from there. And let's move.
Last time I saw the Cardinal was Anglophones together. They all met at the Cardinal's residence in Douala, and eventually on the 25th of July, I think, 2017, they all met at the Cardinal's residence in Douala, and for some of them they were meeting for the first time, but they all met and agreed to convene the Anglophone General Conference. There was a need to maintain both, which has not been fulfilled, has been eroded by the systematic erosion of the heritage of one of those two sides. So we correct that, but we correct that within the Cameroon which we all as a people decided to form on the 1st of October 1961. That's the crux of the matter. It's not more complicated than that.
So let us get it clear. The Cameroon that we decided through the plebiscite to join with La République du Cameroun and form in 1961 was never formed, was never created. We decided to form according to the document submitted in the United Nations, according to the speech and promises made by the head of state Amadou Ahidjo of La République du Cameroun and John Goufoncha. We was the two people of the Southern Cameroon and the French Cameroon was to create a new state called the Federal Republic of Cameroon, with the two states of the Southern Cameroon and the French Cameroon having equal status, maintaining their separate administration to live equally as two states within one new country. That one new country was never created. Instead, what happened was French Cameroon was given our sovereign power in Tico by the British people, and they made their constitution, amended their constitution to assimilate and annex us as part of a Federal Republic of Cameroon created by La République du Cameroun, not with our concern, not with our input. The Fumban Conference, where we were supposed to meet and come with a constitution for both countries, the 11 point that Foncha brought there was twisted and dumped in the trash. Cardinal Tumi had testified and witnessed to the fact and made public statement to the effect that the Fumban Conference arrived in no concession, in no agreement. Simon Mumzul, who took part in the AGC, the All Anglophone Conference 1 and 2, came up with the same conclusion. So, continue to hear.
But obviously, those who are bent on secession, independence, call it what they will, would not like that, and so instantly they developed hostility towards the idea. They charged me with misleading the cardinal, misguiding the cardinal. The cardinal granted an interview, I remember, to either one of your competitors, I think it was Equinox, to say, how can Simon Mumzul mislead me or misguide?
So we know that Simon Mumzul used him. He made ridicule of him. Cardinal Tumi, I remember the last time he was disappointed about the whole thing at the end. I don't know what he was even disappointed. It was predictable. So look at Simon Mumzul, a wise man who have come and used Cardinal Tumi, destroy his credibility completely, and live to talk about it.
Yeah, but go back to the AAC one.
Of course.
Who were the conveners and what were the rules that you played, you, Barrister Elat Ekontang, and yes, Carlson and
Professor Carlson and yes.
Yes. Who convened it and what role did you people play?
This Anglophone problem, because we have to distinguish, especially since 2017, November 2000, we have to distinguish between the Anglophone problem and the Anglophone crisis.
Okay.
Now, the Anglophone problem, in a nutshell, consists in the fact that a federation which our people decided on as a form of the state, under which the Anglophone heritage and the Francophone heritage would both be respected and allowed to coexist peacefully, was breached, incrementally. And again, we can go into that, but incrementally abolished, first make sure that we are all one party. 1966. So the KNDP and the CPNC and One Cameroon and all that, which were vibrant political parties in the Anglophone part of the country, ceased to exist when the leaders of those parties agreed with President Ahidjo to dissolve their parties and form a single party. We can't blame Ahidjo alone. That was a decision taken amongst them. But the consequence of that was that the people of Southern Cameroon's Federated State of West Cameroon no longer had a political party which they controlled.
Which could speak on their behalf.
Who can speak on their behalf. Okay?
So now,
1972.
Now, this is the truth. This is the same Simon Mumzul talking about the so-called West Cameroon for the purpose of this conversation. Now did not have a political party that could speak on his behalf. So he is now saying that a political party have the right to speak on the behalf of a people. So what was the problem then when he is talking about people not having a legitimacy to represent Southern Cameroon when they constitute themselves in SCACUF or the consortium? Of course, they do have the right as a political organization that represent a broad-based interest of a people. Under international law, they have the right. Naturally, they have a right to speak on behalf of the people. So his whole idea, he's contradicting what he was saying. So my country people may want to know very well, so we'll get the right to organize ourselves politically to represent our people. Even under circumstances where they don't get that opportunity for vote their leaders them. Organization them, like the Governing Council of Ambazonia, can speak on their behalf. Organization like SCACUF, like the consortium, can and was speaking on their behalf. The Dinka, the SCNC, and all those people who went and sued in court on their behalf was heard because they have the right, they have vested interest, they are part of it. Even in case law, criminal court and civil law, a small group of people who have suffered from from an injury or an offense can have a lawsuit, a class case. So this idea that we must only have people that were elected by like parliamentarians and senators to represent us is all false. It's all a fallacy.
The federation is abolished. So there is no parliament in Buea anymore. There is no government in Buea anymore. There is no judiciary in Buea anymore. Everything is Yaoundé. Meaning that the seal has been placed on the ability of Anglophones to meet, discuss, organize, speak for themselves. And yet, the phenomenon of marginalization, domination, assimilation, today I will say takeover, went deeper and deeper and deeper. That's the Anglophone problem. That's the Anglophone.
Man, make them very clear. The so-called takeover where they talk, now the taking over of Southern Cameroon administration, banking, judiciary, school education, education system, everything by French Cameroon, not by a new country that was created. That's why even the international community calls that country the French-speaking government, because that government from its base is the same government that applied for the application to attend to join the United Nations and had never followed up on that application to include Southern Cameroon because they didn't have the signatories, a union treaty, to be able to show that we have united. So it is still the French Cameroon taking over the Southern Cameroon. It's not a new country that was formed. If that new country ever existed, then they, by changing the law, they effected the secession law that made Cameroon secede from that union and acted unilaterally as a state to assimilate our people and to take over our territory, which is annexation, which is recolonization, which is a crime against humanity, and breaches the fundamentals of the cardinal laws of international law, which is the preservation of a sovereignty.
Problem. So, at the tripartite conference in 92, I think. Okay. Yeah. At the tripartite conference in 1992, I attended that conference as part of the CPDM delegation because I was then National Secretary for Economic and Social Affairs of the Central Committee of the CPDM. Okay? Our brief here is to come up with a new constitution for the country. We should propose to the tripartite, when we go back to report to them, propose to them...
So, that's the way they talk, I want forward them. It talk about the committee of the tripartite committee, where they probably be create and then rewrite the constitution. I remember the constitution amendment will be end of to the Cameroon constitution for 2016. I mean 2006. Is it 1996 constitution? I guess. Forgive me if I get that date then wrong. So they will be part of that committee. Now from their way, Dr. Carson Nanangwe, Simon Monso, and two other Southern Cameroonians, and where they will be in that committee, they decide to call the All Anglophone Conference, and they represented our people and they speak on behalf of our people. So we're gonna hear
that would allow us. We searched, we racked our brains, and we didn't see. So we decided that, well, since we were appointed, designated to be in this committee, and we are Anglophones, we can use our capacity as members of the committee to call Anglophones and say, hey, this is how how things are standing up. You people should better be aware about it, and let's know what to do. That is what motivated our convening the AAC in Buea.
So the three of you convened?
The three of us convened, but I have to say that Minister Itoi's name was included among the conveners, although he did not sign the convening notice. But as far as we were concerned, the four Anglophones in the Constitutional Drafting Committee convened that meeting, and we were astonished ourselves by the response, which showed you was a measure of the feeling amongst Anglophones about this thing of assimilation and so on. The turnout in Buea, as everybody recalls, was phenomenal. A meeting convened by three people who otherwise didn't have any particular standing in the country. So that's how the Anglophone the All Anglophone Conference came about. And after 2 days of deliberation, or was it 3, we came out with a proper diagnosis of the situation, consigned in the document called the Buea Declaration, addressed this to the government to say, this is the Anglophone problem, and here are ideas about possible solution. But that was, brushed aside, and nothing was done.
Okay.
The All Anglophone Conference, we drafted a constitution which was meant to be the contribution of Anglophones, Southern Cameroonians, if you like, to the constitutional reform process which the President of the Republic started at the time.
So, to the credit of Simon Mumzul and Dr. Cardinal Tumi, they did a marvelous job to bring our people together to come up with this conference. They did so at a great risk. Pobia is good with disappearance and stuff like that. With good faith, they brought people together. They come up with this constitution. They basically did the job that was supposed to be done by John Bufoncha and his delegation in the Fumban conference, to go in with their constitution that reflects and protect the interests of the people of our territory. So they did a marvelous job, and we congratulate them for that. But what the diagnosis and everything that they presented and submitted to La République du Cameroun was completely rejected. And let's continue to hear what he said.
So up to this day, we have the document, the draft federal constitution submitted by the executive organ that emerged from the AAC in Buea, namely the Anglophone Standing Committee. That was submitted in July of 1993. If it had been accepted and elements have been picked out of it for us genuinely to try to solve the problem, we wouldn't have been where we are today, but it was rejected outright. Then we met in Bamenda the following year, AAC, and noticed that, observed that all our efforts writing to the government, appealing and all of that, had received no response whatsoever. And the Bamenda proclamation.
So it's just like what they did to Harmony Pogba with the Anglophone lawyers. The petition after petition, they don't even give you a voice. They don't even answer. They don't even acknowledge receipt of those documents representing the interests of a people that is giving them over 60% of their GDP. That is to show you how these people look at us, like slaves, like people with no voice, people with no dignity. And how would anybody with a sense of dignity want us to coexist with these people in any shape or form? Let's go ahead.
Was adopted to say that, we said in a sense that the government was given a reasonable time to respond to the grievances of the Anglophones. And if upon the expiration of that reasonable time there was no response, then without the need to convene a third All-Anglophone conference, the Southern Cameroon's National Council should transform into a constitutional assembly and declare the restoration of the state of the Southern Cameroons and use all means to defend it.
So that is exactly what happened. The people had gathered, constituted themselves, developed the Southern Cameroon National Council, SCNC. They had given notice to the Cameroon government that these people are representing the interests of our state. Within a reasonable period of time, if you do not comply with these propositions that were rejected outrightly, this SCNC could, without any gathering again, could decide to declare the restoration of our independence and defend it with any means possible. Simon Mumzul was there. He read it. That includes defending it with guns, which is exactly what we are doing today. As As a matter of fact, the SCNC, they gathered, they even went to the United Nations to make those declarations. You had Adobode, Justice Adobode, Justice Frederick, who made the declaration of the restoration of our independence in 1999 December, in line with that document that was signed. So anyone who wants to come and turn and say that this struggle does not represent our people, it does. It represents the interests of our people. It represents the well-diagnosed problem we have, according to that document, which is a document that was done properly in the assessment of Simon Mumzul, that our territory have not gotten into a union with La République du Cameroon, and we are in a situation of assimilation, annexation, and recolonization.
That was consigned in the proclamation, yes.
I mean the proclamation?
Yes.
You were a part of it?
I was already a part of it, but I'm the one who read, because I was, at this time, spokesperson of the SCNC. So I am the one who read the proclamation.
Is that what they talk of, the zero tolerance?
Yes, exactly. That was the talk of the zero tolerance. And precisely because I am the one who read that proclamation, in the midst of the present crisis, the separatists have taken me to task, saying how I'm a sellout. After having read that, I'm now saying that I am not for separation and secession and all of that, which is a misrepresentation. But you know, in this context, people use all sorts of things for that. I say it's a misrepresentation because the Bamenda Proclamation was a compromise between those who already in 1994 those who in 1994 already were agitating for independence and separation. Okay. And then there were, quote unquote, moderates who said, no, we don't need to go that far. Our push should be to make sure that the Anglophone problem consisting in this marginalization and assimilation is addressed, but within the confines of Cameroon. And I happen to have been amongst the quote-unquote moderates. And so the compromise in that resolution, for in deference to the separatists, or if you like, to the moderates, we said we give the government a reasonable time. And it was not specified, it was not defined, but so give the government a reasonable time to come up with solutions. And in deference to the separatists, secessionists, we said, okay, if that reasonable time passes and nothing happens, then you declare independence. So you had a compromise between, if you like, what you will call today the federalists, you know, and the moderates and the separatists. Now, I was a federalist then, and I remain to this day. You can verify even the
So, what's way Simon Mumzul the talk now say they want to defend a position now as a federalist. But mind you, the declaration for that Bamenda declaration and the Boya declaration was a compromise as he talk. Both sides have sat down and they come up, and the compromise should be representative of the whole conference. So when the compromise demand, say within a reasonable period of time, there is no address of this issue, a declaration of independence will be made. That should be representative of everybody who took part in that meeting. They have to defend it because they had compromised, they had accepted that that position is reflective of the interests of the people which they went there to represent, which is the people of the Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. So indeed, those who stick to go back to their sub positions like Mumzul to stand for federalists, for federation, after that reasonable period of time have passed, after that whole thing have been rejected, are people who have sailed out. They have no honor. Mumzul should defend the document he declared I greet and acknowledge the presence of our press secretary, who is online as well. And I'll read paragraph 6 of that document that Simon Mumzul read. It says, should the government either persist in its refusal to engage in meaningful constitutional talks or fail to engage in such talks within reasonable time, the Anglophone Council shall so inform the Anglophone people by all suitable means. It shall thereupon proclaim the revival of the independence and sovereignty of the Anglophone territory of the Southern Cameroons and take all measures necessary to secure, defend, and preserve the independence, sovereignty, and integrity of the said territory. Read by Simon Mumzul himself. And that time have come. That declaration have been made. And we will fight to defend. We will fight to effectuate the independence and the sovereignty and the integrity of our territory, the Southern Cameroon. Rightfully so, we are on the right footing, and Simon Mumzul is a sellout. So I think the president of the governing council will be coming up. Our leader, Dr. Chua, will be coming up very soon, so I'll try to round it up.
My dear, federation remains, to my mind, the ideal solution to solving the Anglophone problem, for the simple reason that it entails recognizing the reality that our country, as born on the 1st of October 1961, was the coming together of two territories, each of them with a separate heritage, bequeathed by our different colonial experiences, which we did not desire, but they were imposed on us, and they became part of who we are. So, to solve the problem, we need to go back to respecting those two heritages. And that is.
So first of all, Simon Mumzul talks say the two countries came together and formed a country. That never happened. They never came together, they never formed any country. What we have is that the two countries, La République and Southern Cameroon, came together. And now what we have is La République. Where is Southern Cameroon? Where is Southern Cameroon? They want to subdue us, they want to grind us, they want to assimilate us, they want to recolonize us, to make us francophones, to make us their citizens. There is nothing like one Cameroon in this thing. Where is Southern Cameroon? There is no country that was created. The same application that was made by Cameroon in the United Nations is the only application that is there. This is a case of assimilation, it's a case of annexation and recolonization. And we will not accept to be an assimilated people, a colonized people. It's either we get that freedom or they give us the bullet.
From that perspective, the proposal has been made to return to the federal system of government. Now, the question that has arisen, and we must not avoid the elephant in the room, is a federation of how many states? Mm-hmm. Should we just go back to the Anglophone bloc as it was under as Federated State of West Cameroon, and the Francophone bloc as it was as a Federated State of East Cameroon? Or should we, responding to the aspirations of Cameroonians in all the regions, where we all see that, for example, if you have...
I think the president of the governing council is online, so I'm going to round up so that we can go. So the whole idea that there is a division between Northwest and Southwest should mean that we should join in them in some type of 10-state federation is all crazy. Southern Cameroon territory is indivisible. The Northwest and Southwest administrative division does not mean the division of our sovereignty or our state. We will remain a state, we will remain an independent country, because the blood have shed, the marriage is beyond repair. The damage done on the union is beyond repair. The only thing we want is separation. We don't want anything to do with that Cameroon anymore. our citizens have made their voice very, very clearly. The All Anglophone Conference 1 and 2, the declaration of the restoration of Southern Cameroon by the Justice Adowede Frederick in December 1999 has restored our country. The declaration by Godi Dinka have restored our country. The reiteration by Siseko have restored our country, and we will defend our sovereignty until Cameroon is kicked out of Ambazonia. That is how it's going to be. So to end the show, I'm going to play a few minutes video of one of our mama who will stand and speak on behalf of all the veterans that are alive, and that advises us and that talks to us regularly to continue to fight for our people and to speak on their behalf. This mama, now one of our mama waiting for inside Atlantic State, make it talk, and then we will close this show.
Hello, Massa Tok Tok. Hello, countryman. Una be welcome for K-Town. Today, I should don't for Mama Ndum Saliwe na Mama we dey about 83 years. He don't be a businesswoman for Cameroon. He don't travel. Then he don't be a politician. So he know plenty things the way don't happen for this country, my countryman. So Mama go tell we things the way it don't transpire. It will tell we how the crisis for Northwest and Southwest region it affect me personally as Mami for picking them. So now the thing that way me and Mami will talk this particular afternoon, Massa Tok Tok. Mamandun, I be happy say you don't welcome we for your house today.
Thank you plenty for coming.
Okay, Mami, the first question I go ask you. You be see images them time where they keep picking them for school for Kumba, because this crisis don't take place for 4 years today, and picking them this also die. So wait till you tell the government.
My picking I not hide for tell you say when this thing be start with teachers and lawyers for 2016. January 2017, I advised Bia. I say, look, you be papa for country. We'll be glad for take you as a Christian. Make you come help we Christians. Now you don't come make place don't go worse. I say when teachers they cry, lawyers they cry, it means that something be wrong. You get for pay attention for them. Because if papa be for a compound, then he see small smoke they come out some side. He get for go look and say, now what did they do for them? He quench them. Because if he leave that smoke, it can't blaze or baby fire, he will worry. Nothing then that way I be talk. I say so make him know say if he leave this matter. That was 2017. If he leave the matter, may go ahead, he will regret, and now the consequence they will see him now.
How you feel the way Paul Biya and the Cameroon government handle the Anglophone crisis?
I don't know what you have to talk because it don't tide me. Myself, I be Southern Cameroonian, Anglophone as they call him. Paul Biya. How if he hand them nice starter? He will hand them how? He get what he get for do now only for stop this army. They move them because now he be bring the army. Now only you go move them. Even where they talk say Amber boys, they no be first be. They only come when army they come to for. Say may they defend themselves.
So due to the president of the governing council, the leader of our War of Liberation in the Talk Now Live, I will stop the broadcast, and thank you very much for participating in this show. Maybe we join the leader of our War of Liberation, and if you watch me later on for ACN, thank you for watching. God bless you.